Welcome to listen to the folk tale Mad Monk. In Yangtze period, Gusu city was really prosperous. But recently after dinner, people are talking about not about which silk is good or which girl is pretty, but all about the strange things in the vegetable garden. Hey, have you heard the last 15th day of the lunar month? Lao Wang's old cold leg hurt so much that he couldn't get off the bed. He went for a walk outside the vegetable garden. Smelled the smell. Hey, guess what? He could go home by himself with soy sauce that night. That is right. Zhang's wife has been coughing for half a year, coughing so hard that it was earth-shattering. The night before, he bravely approached the fence and sniffed for a while, and didn't cough all night. It is amazing that rumors spread like birds with wings, flapping their wings, and flew into the most magnificent Shen mansion in the city. Shen Bancheng was lying on his rosewood inlaid with mother-of-pearl couch, and let his maid knock his legs with a small golden hammer. The butler Ah Fu ran in excitedly, and exaggerated the story. Shen Bancheng's fat body, he sat up with a jerk. His small green eyes were wide open, and shining with golden light. Is it true? Is there such a strange fragrance? It is true, master, it is all over the street. Everyone says. It is said that the lost Sam Xiao Xiao Yao Nyang is back. The ancient books say that 1 cup can forget worries, and 3 laughs make you immortal. Ah Fu hunched over, spitting everywhere. Shen Bancheng muttered to himself, with all his little eyes full of calculations, if I presented this immortal wine to Zhang in Beijing, he would be very happy. I would be so happy. He seemed to have seen himself wearing an official hat, being worshipped by others, but Ah Fu poured cold water on him at the right time. The place where the wine is hidden is the vegetable garden of Hanshan Temple. It is managed by a mad monk. The monk's name is Lo Zhuji Yao Ran. He is crazy all day, and talking nonsense, sleeping in mud pits, and befriended wild dogs. It is hard to handle. The mad monk narrowed his green eyes, and a sly smile on his fat face. Crazy? Heh, good. A madman is easier to deal with. Since he guards the treasure, he must have a preference. Go and find out what this mad monk likes best. In a few days the news came back. The mad monk has no other hobbies, but only one thing, especially the crispy, tender, and shiny beggar's chicken. Shen Bancheng slapped his thigh and said, I am afraid he has no hobbies. Afang? Ask Master Wang from Zuxian restaurant to show his best skills, to make the fattest, most fragrant, and most tempting beggar's chicken. Remember to stuff it with good stuff. He made a gesture of drugging. The master and servant looked at each other, and gave a knowing chuckle. The next noon, the sun was shining lazily. A sullen-looking vendor came to the back door of Hanshan Temple. On closer inspection, it turned out to be Ah Fu in disguise. He carried a basket, and selling it feebly. The best beggar chicken is sold cheap. The aroma of the chicken was like a hook, and drifted into the vegetable garden. The mad monk, who was competing with a crooked vegetable, Lao Ran twitched his nose a few times, like a hound smelling something. He threw the half scoop of feces, and threw the half bucket of feces in his hand. His eyes were straight, with a silly smile on his mouth. Following the scent, he stumbled to the back door. Hey, what a delicious chicken. His saliva was almost dripping on his tattered robe. His eyes were fixed on the oil paper wrapped chicken in the basket. Ah Fu was overjoyed, but said with a sad face, Master, please be kind. This chicken was originally for Master Li in the city, but his family is on a vegetarian diet today. They refuse to take it. I need money to go home. It is a bargain. 50 wen is 50 wen. Liao Ren monk rummaged through his clothes, and took out 3 or 5 shiny copper coins, and shook out a few mud clods into AFU. It is fate. The Buddha said I was destined to eat this chicken. He grabbed the chicken, and held it in his arms, as if he had obtained a priceless treasure, and jumped and danced back to his small shed. Ah Fu looked at the things the monk gave him. He pouted and quickly slipped away to report. In the shed, Render understood. The monk sat cross-legged, staring at the delicious chicken and giggling. He tore off a fat and oily chicken leg, and put it under his nose, and took an exaggerated deep breath. In his small eyes, there was a barely perceptible clarity. Amitabha. Good brother dog has been watching the garden for the monk recently. You deserve it, he muttered and got up to walk to the back of the shed. The rascal yellow dog that always steals vegetables was lying there napping. The monk threw the big chicken leg in front of the dog. Brother dog, you are welcome. The yellow dog looked at him warily, and then the chicken leg. but finally couldn't resist the temptation. It took a bite. It gulped it down in a few bites. But after a few wagging of its tail, it closed its eyes and kicked its legs, and fell to the ground with a thud. A loud snoring sound followed. Wonderful, wonderful, Shen Bancheng, your drunkenness is really not small. The mad monk slapped his thigh and laughed. He turned around and picked up the remaining chicken, and ate it with relish, with oil dripping from his mouth. Of course he ate it cleanly. After eating, he licked his fingers with satisfaction. He looked around, he found a puddle of rainwater and mud, and plopped into the puddle. Hall deliberately made louder snoring than the yellow dog. The servant who was secretly watching saw it clearly, and immediately ran back. Master is down. The mad monk and the watchdog were sound asleep, snoring loudly. Hearing this, Shen Bancheng, he was overjoyed. God helps me, inform everyone tonight at midnight. We'll take the treasure at midnight. It was dark and windy. Hanshan Temple was eerily quiet, only a few chirps of insects. Shen Bancheng led the team himself, wearing night clothes, with A Fu and 2 skilled servants. Sneaking into the vegetable garden, on say they entered the garden. The legendary strange fragrance was even stronger, and went straight into his nose. Shen Bancheng's excited heart was pounding. His small eyes tried to widen in the dark. Searching around, he saw the mad monk was lying on his back in the mud, snoring loudly, with a smell of alcohol and mud. Next to him lay the same sleepy yellow dog. Quickly look for it. The baby must be hidden nearby. Shen Bancheng lowered his voice to urge himself. His fat body was also searching hard. There were piles of firewood, broken farm tools, and several broken jars for pickling cabbage. There is a newly turned soil pit in the corner. The strange fragrance seemed to be coming from that pit. Master, this smell is the strongest. A Fu lay by the pit, squatting by the pit. Shen Bancheng rolled and crawled over. He used his hand to dig the floating soil. Sure enough, he touched a hard object. His heart beat faster. He and the servants hurriedly dug up the soil. A dirty and old clay jar was revealed. The bee mud at the mouth of the jar was cracked, but there seemed to be 2 words vaguely carved. It seems to be Sanxiao. It is his treasure. Shen Bancheng's excited voice was distorted. He didn't care about the dirt. He tightly held the heavy jar in his arms, as if holding a peerless beauty. Let's go quickly. Don't wake up the mad monk. He was guilty for fear that Liao Ren would suddenly jump up. They hurriedly held the jar and stumbling and staggering out of the vegetable garden, disappearing into the night. None of them looked back, and naturally didn't see. The mad monk in the mud opened one eye secretly, watching their embarrassed backs. With a sly smile on his mouth, he rolled over and muttered, take it, it is good for the field. It is not easy for me to save some money. No thanks. It turned out that the pit was where Liao Ren usually composts rotten vegetables, where he prepared to make compost. The so-called treasure wine in the jar was just a random concoction of his, the mixed fertilizer stock. It is made of rotten vegetable leaves and bad fruits. Occasionally, there is some leftover food and spoiled water. Then add water from Xipang and Sanxiao springs, which was prepared to water the vegetable field. Because of the mixture, the smell after fermentation is peculiar. It was mistaken by Shen Bancheng as fairy wine. The real Sanxiao Xiaoyao brew has been taken by Liao Ran. It was divided into several inconspicuous, gray gourds, together with a pile of dried lufas and gourds, hanging casually under the thatched roof, swaying in the wind. The inner hall of the mansion was brightly lit, as bright as day. Shen Bancheng respectfully placed the jar, on the 8 immortals table covered with red brocade. He himself was even more solemn. He took a bath, changed clothes, burned incense, and put on a brand new silk dress, making it seem like a sacrifice to the gods. Butler A Fu and several confidants stood around, not daring to breathe. All stretched their necks waiting to see this treasure that can make people immortal. Shen Bancheng rubbed his hands. His fat face flushed with excitement, and his small eyes were full of desire. He cleared his throat and said in a pretentious tone, "Today, we mortals can see the fairyland and taste the jade nectar of the immortal abode. You are lucky to witness. It's a blessing that you have cultivated for several lifetimes." He picked up a small jade hammer that he had prepared. His hands trembled slightly with excitement. He gently and carefully tapped the mud at the mouth. With a crisp sound, the beeswax cracked. At this moment, an indescribably strong, a tyrannical and complex stench like a demon that had been suppressed for thousands of years, burst out of the jar. The smell. It smells like rotten vegetable leaves exposed in summer, mixed with the old feces in the cesspool, plus the essence of dead mice and stinky eggs, and finally mixed with the sourness of dried water. The smell was so strong, mellow, and impactful, instantly bombarded the entire inner hall. Oh my god, Afu and the servants who were watching, we're attacked by this sudden chemical attack. We're dizzy and nauseous. And their stomachs were churning. Retreated with retching. Shen Bancheng, who was closest to the nose and eyes, was directly hit by this strong stench. His fat face turned from red to white, then green to purple. His stomach had a violent cramp. The delicacies he had eaten at night were stuck in his throat. He resisted the urge to vomit. He trembled and looked into the jar in disbelief. The jar was cloudy and a strange viscous liquid, with half-rotten vegetable leaves floating on it, and he couldn't see the round fruit pits, and even some white and fat maggots, swimming and rolling happily. Shen Bancheng couldn't hold it anymore. He spat out a mouthful of filth, right on the jar of fresh brew, and his brand new silk clothes. He pointed at the jar. His fingers trembled like fallen leaves in the autumn wind. His eyes were full of horror, incredulity, and extreme humiliation. The swill was stinky and sour, he screamed. Thinking of all his calculations, buying chickens at high price, stealing at night, and mobilizing a large number of people. But in the end, he stole a jar of, used by monks to fertilize the fields. He even wanted to use this to get promoted and rich. If this gets out, could he still be a human being in Suzhou City? The huge psychological gap and extreme shame instantly broke his nerves. Shen Bancheng couldn't breathe, rolled his eyes, and his fat body swayed twice, and fell straight back with a thud, and passed out on the spot. The Hanshan Temple's life went on as usual. Morning and evening bells, green vegetables and tofu. The mad monk is still the same. He is still the same, sometimes rolling in the mud, or chatting with the big tree, or chasing butterflies and running around. It seems that the previous farce had nothing to do with him. But if the little monk in the temple, if anyone catches a cold or has a headache, or had a headache, he will come and take a look. Then he will go to the woodshed. From the pile of dried gourds, he would pick up a gray gourd. He pulls out the stopper, pour out a small half bowl of clear liquid like mountain spring water. But it exudes a truly mellow and fragrant liquid. Drink it and take a nap, and everything is fine. Ha 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 ha. He watched the little monk frown and drink it. He sweated a little later, and he felt much better. He grinned and smiled with teeth showing. Occasionally, there are sincere people who come to help, poor or kind-hearted people who are not cunning. He would mysteriously let them have a small taste. After drinking, they will feel comfortable, and all fatigue is gone. As for the real 3 laughs, joyous wine, how much is left? Is there only a few gourds left? Or if he has already distributed most of it, no one can tell. Later someone swore that, on a night when the moon was big and round, he saw the mad monk holding a gourd in the vegetable garden, dancing and laughing at the moon, and laughed 3 times. The laughter was loud and clear, and the leaves rustled. After laughing, he threw the empty gourd casually. He staggered and floated like a drunk immortal. He staggered and floated away in the moonlight, and went towards the back mountain. No one has seen him since then. Only the vegetable garden at specific times of the year seems to faintly emit a strange fragrance, which attracts curious people to explore, but never find the source. The oldest monk in the temple said that it might not be the smell of wine at all, but the aura of plants, or the taste of the earth's veins, or it may be left by the mad monk, a bit of carefree true nature. Only those who have no greed, and live a down-to-earth life, can occasionally smell a trace of the true flavor, and feel refreshed. Let's talk about Shen Bancheng. He was sick for several months before recovering. He was cured, but he has a hidden illness. When he hears the word wine or smells something strange, his face turns white. He would subconsciously cover his nose and retch, as if the terrifying taste of the fairy wine still lingers. Although he is still stingy, he no longer dares to play those tricks, and other tricks. He has become more honest in business. The bell of Hanshan Temple still rings on time every day, and echoing. This story is like the bell, repeatedly in Gusu City. Everyone listened to it as a joke. After listening, some wise people will comment on it. The story was passed on with laughter and words. This story is told by Gu Yun Jin Tan for you. Thank you for listening. See you next time.